Test baby, 1 2 3 4. Test baby, 1 2 3. Yep. It's Ronnie. Yep. It's we all be news free Dixie for the 21st century. This is your brother, the one on the two and the one. Hit it on the one. It's brother Ron, and this we all be news free Dixie for the 21st century. I hope everybody can hear me. If you can hear me, say yeah. Hit the one in the box. If you can hear me, I think you can hear me. This is brother Ron. No need to fear me because we all be in it to win it. I'm just gonna get on here, so freestyle. I normally just freestyle anyway, my thoughts and stuff like that of that nature. Yeah. Okay, you hear me? All right, brother Salvador. Yeah. Oh yeah. The Kamala, the collard greens queens. Call me now, like Miss Cleo. Yeah, man. The jokes writes themselves, man, with Kamala Harris and that ticket over there, Harris Walls, from the windows to the walls. Come and get your soul food. Yeah. Thank y'all, family, for chilling out with the brother Ron. It's we all be news free Dixie for the 21st century, baby. Can you feel me? So let's get into a couple of things. First, I want to give a shout out. My condolences to my cousin, Datria Delaney. She was missing for 3+ weeks. Nobody knew where she went. We just saw this footage of her on a ring bell camera, ring door camera bell thing. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But she went missing July 29th. They found her remains in the wooded area in the Memphis, Tennessee area several days ago. And they still trying to figure out what happened to her. She's just 23 years young. My thoughts and prayers go out to all of her family and extended loved ones and all that stuff. So that's very important. And what's weird, hey brother, G Boot in the house, G Counselor Richard was out New Orleans, baby. But I don't know what happened with Datria. She was just 23 years young. We was fearing that she could have possibly been kidnapped and some other things that happened. I just know that I hope that she's at peace. She had a very eventful life. A lot of unfortunate things happened to her in life. And say it like this: the only people that can betray you are those that you love. The only people that can betray you are the ones that you love. So I'm gonna do something, highlight a story on her in a future podcast broadcast. We all be in it, but she's been on my mind heavily for the last several days. So it's a lot that has happened in the world. The world has changed a lot since the last time we spoke, and that was like, I think it was last week, the last time that we spoke. It's been a long time. Long time. Everything is microwave fast these days. So there's a lot that happened between Friday and now. As you all have heard, what's the word? This is the word for Brother Heard that Robert F. Kennedy Jr., RFK Jr., suspended his campaign and went out of his way to endorse the orange one, Agent Orange, the chosen orange man. Oh, yeah, 45 alive like Johnny Five. He went and threw his support behind Donald John Trump to be the 47th president of these United States. That's the real agenda, 47. Make 45 47 is the real agenda, 47. So he did, like, I thought it was a fantastic speech. It's one of the greatest political speeches in American history. And I listened to every minute minutia of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. speech and endorsement of not only Donald Trump, but it was like a redemption song or redemption letter. It's like, we're going to redeem America. And I think that the reason why Robert Kennedy has those vocal issues Cause he got that not too long ago. His issue with his voice, the vocal box, whatever. I don't know. I'm not gonna look up what the y'all look up what that illness is called. But I believe God wants you to really pay attention and listen with intent. When Bobby Kennedy Jr. speaks, you got to really listen to what he's saying. And really, that's not a curse. That's a gift. Because I took the time to listen to his speech. I know his voice is like, oh my God, you listen to that, but you listening to what he's saying. He has a lot of substance to what he's saying, and he's telling a lot of truths. And one thing I love about Trump, he said we're going to release them JFK files, and that needs to be done. That should have been done back in 2017, and they didn't do it. And it's a story that goes around. Shout out to the brother over there, the dark journalist. This one he put out there into the sphere, to the social media sphere. Judge Napolitano questioned Trump on why he never released the whole batch of JFK files, and allegedly Donald Trump told him that he can't release them because the stuff in there, I can't release them. The stuff in there is too dynamite. Dynamite. He didn't say that. I said that. So he was hesitant about releasing all of the files because of what the files contain. So we got to ask ourselves, what are in those files that even Donald Trump, as bold, as swaggerlicious and bold he is, was afraid to release all the files? So I'm looking forward, but he said he's going to form a committee about assassinations because, they almost got Trump. That was not a fake assassination attempt. We too desensitized. We are living in a state of idiocracy where the things that are real, y'all think is fake, and the things that are fake, y'all think is real. Now, we are living in the age of AI, but that was an attempt on President Trump's life. That was not something he planned himself. That was a failure in security by design. From what I can tell, it's weird that you're doing congressional inquiry, and the person that's leading the congressional inquiry, the representative from Louisiana, who was a former police captain, he tried to take a look of the body of the so-called assassin. And they said, oh, we released it to the family. He's been cremated. He's been cremated. We released it to the family, right? They said the FBI said we could do it. And y'all got to understand this. This is echoes of Kennedy, Daley Plaza. They botched the autopsy of JFK, John F. Kennedy. He was supposed to get his autopsy done at Parkland Memorial Hospital. It's Parkland. I don't know. They did a movie about it several years ago. I think it was Parkland Memorial, right, in Dallas. He was supposed to get his autopsy done there because, like, by state law, they had to do his autopsy near the scene of the crime on the state premises. But the Secret Service, they'll try and protect his body in death. They couldn't protect him while he was alive, but the Secret Service guerrilla pimped that way. They got that body, that carcass out of there on his way to the East Coast. But the autopsy supposed to took place in Parkland Memorial. It's called Parkland Memorial Hospital. But the Secret Service said, hell no, we're going to take it back to the East Coast. And so they did the autopsy, a questionable autopsy of JFK at Bethesda Naval Hospital. We know it's Walter Reed now, but Bethesda Naval Hospital, where they did the botched autopsy of JFK. So the men is like, this is echoes of JFK in terms of just the protocols that were breached and stuff like that. And it's really fascinating. And the fact that, Robert Kennedy can relate to Donald Trump because Robert Kennedy lost his uncle and his father to assassinations. And so I thought that was pretty cool that he endorsed Donald Trump, that he knew that he could be a spoiler for Donald Trump. Because could be go back to 92. Bill Clinton won the 92 election, right? But he didn't get 50% of the vote. He got in the 40th percentile, something, 40 something. Ross Perot was the spoiler. Ross Perot was a legitimate third-party candidate from Texas, the billionaire with the big ears from Texas. I'm Ross Perot. I'm running for office. So Ross Perot got, I think, about 18%, somewhere between 18-20% of the popular vote. And that hurt Bush more than, and it helped Clinton, but it hurted George H.W. Bush getting back into the White House because he took votes away from George Bush. Ross Perot did, and he helped Clinton get in. Clinton beat Robert, no, Bob Dole. I'm Bob Dole. I'm Bob Dole. Beat Bob Dole in the 96 campaign very handedly, but 92 he needed help from Ross Perot. So by Robert Kennedy saying, I'm gonna suspend my campaign, put my name off the ballots in the swing states that are hotly contested, that both sides need to win. I'm talking about the Democrat and Republican. Both sides need those swing states to win it all. So by Bobby Kennedy pulling out and endorsing Trump, they'll give Trump some advantages in those swing states. Like he'll get maybe like 3 to 6% of the vote now because Bobby Kennedy stepped aside. And that's powerful to me because, like, the 2020 elections were illegitimate in my opinion, and I just go by my gut on that. I can't prove it was illegitimate. It just didn't seem right. But that means they're gonna have to really do a lot of work to really rig it this time around, because by Bobby Kennedy, it's kind of akin to, even you go back to 2000, right? Ralph Nader, who's an American hero to me, Ralph Nader. A lot of us don't know who Ralph Nader is today, but Ralph Nader is the reason why we got seatbelts in cars and all this consumer rights stuff, because of Ralph Nader, right? He ran, and I think in 2000, and we know Al Gore lost to Bush, supposedly. Bush won the election via the Supreme Court. So yeah, I like what Trump was trying to do in 2020 was so bizarre when the Supreme Court stepped in and gave the election to George W. Bush Jr. Even when Al Gore was coming up on the Florida count was turning in the favor of Al Gore, but they still awarded the election of 2020 to George W. Bush Jr. And elections do have consequences. People say your vote don't matter. Your vote do matter. If you don't vote, that's a vote. You understand? Whatever you decide to do with your vote is a powerful thing. If you decide to stick it on the couch or whatever, if you decide to go to the polls, whoever you vote for, your vote matters. It really does. And that's the thing. It's funny to say that, but if you don't vote, it's like you are voting, because you saying I have a vote of no confidence in any of the so-called candidates, right? So if you look at what happened in 2000, you had Al Gore with Joe Lieberman, the senator, I think it was from Connecticut, the Jewish American senator, because we know the Democrats are so anti-Semitic. You got a Jewish senator who had some civil rights connections. I guess he did some stuff back in the day in the movement. Well, they all claim that. But anyway, Al Gore lost Florida allegedly, even though he was winning on the recount. The hanging chads and all that stuff. Hanging chads. But if Al Gore could have won Tennessee, he just needed 5 electoral votes, right? What do we call it? Electoral votes. He just needed 5 to really win it all. He could have got Tennessee with 11. He could have got Arkansas with 5 electoral votes, electorate votes, whatever you call it, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Because the popular vote doesn't matter. It matters, but it doesn't matter, because Hillary got more votes than Trump, and Trump still won. And through the electoral college. And so Al Gore couldn't carry the state that his father was a very popular political figure in, Al Gore Sr., who was a senator from Tennessee. And I commend Al Gore Sr. because he didn't sign his racist party's Southern Manifesto of 1956, I believe. Look up the Southern Manifesto, because I don't understand how people can confuse the Democrats as being the party of race, equality, and labor and justice. They never was. They never was that party. The party of the Ku Klux Klan. They invented the Ku Klux Klan. The first Grand Wizard, Nathan Bedford Forrest, was the first Grand Wizard of the Klan. He was a Democrat. He was at the delegation. He was part of the delegation in 1868. He was a Democrat in the delegation, in 1868, a delegate of the Democratic Party from Tennessee. But this Democrat thing is weird how they rewrite history. But the Southern Manifesto, look that up. But Al Gore Sr. didn't sign it. I don't believe he signed it. Y'all can look that up and y'all can contest that or not. But if Al Gore either won Arkansas or Tennessee, he would have won the election. He just outright won any of those states. He had Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton could have helped him. But Al Gore was scared of Bill Clinton, like, kind of like how some of y'all scared to listen to R. Kelly's music. Al Gore was scared of Bill Clinton because he had sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. Yes, he did have sexual relations. So I mean, Bill Clinton was still popular. I used to love Bill Clinton back in the day. I think a lot of us love Bill Clinton back in the day. And I don't think Al Gore knew how to handle the Bill Clinton thing. I don't think he really utilized Bill Clinton the way he could have utilized him in places like Tennessee or Arkansas. Who knows? But anyway, it did have a consequence, because what happened in 2001, what happened in 2003, and look where we at right now, right? Look at the quagmire of a mess we are in right now as a nation, as the American people, as the American Republic. So when Bobby Kennedy endorsed Trump on Friday, that gave him a lot of life. Then on Monday, you had Tulsi Gabbard endorse Trump as well too. Man, he's really building a coalition of the willing. It's like a political Voltron going on. You 80s babies, y'all know about Voltron, right? It's like everybody coming together. It's like the A-Team. Dun, 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 dun. Trump is really Hannibal. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. He's like, I love when a good plan comes together. That's what Trump's saying. He rubbing his hands like Birdman in this. He about to get everybody on the freedom train. So I love it. So I love Tulsi Gabbard from Hawaii. Veteran. She was actually at Arlington Cemetery earlier today with Donald Trump to lay the wreaths on our lost and fallen from our Afghanistan disastrous pullout. So Trump was the only president there. Biden has been MIA since the convention from earlier in the week of last week. Kamala is nowhere to be found. She's a chameleonaire. She's the real chameleon. Let's see what else. Clinton wasn't there. Carter wasn't there, but Trump showed up. The same Trump they claimed that disrespected the dead when he went to visit the cemeteries over in World War II dead, our dead from World War II, I believe. They said that he disrespected them. This is the only president or presidential candidate that showed up to pay respects to the fallen after that disastrous Afghanistan pullout. It's a lot to be desired, left to be desired right now from so-called leadership. And Trump is the best option. I don't care what nobody say. Trump is the best option for America. He is the one that can lead us to the promised land. Because he's building a coalition of the willing, like Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard. It's Tulsi, right? Tulsi Gabbard. I really got a lot of respect for her. I got a lot of love for Tulsi and Robert. And it's sad that the Democratic Party had these people right there and they let them go. They dismissed these people. Like Robert Kennedy Jr. wanted to talk with Kamala Harris, and she refused to meet with him. She's afraid to even talk to people one-on-one off the record. She's scary. We ain't never scared. I ain't never scared. We ain't never scared. But she's a scary person in more ways than one. She's scared and then she's scary. She's scared and then she's scary. You know what I mean? So I mean, like, I don't see it. But if you had a ticket, because Tulsi stood up for Bernie Sanders and the Bernie Bros. Bernie Sanders really, it said he laid down like that in 2016. Like, at least Joe Biden got a chance to be president, but Bernie should have been a nominee for the Democratic Party back in 2016, and they stole it from Bernie. They stole it from the Bernie Bros, right? And Tulsi was on the DNC committee at the time. I think she was a vice president. I don't know. I think in 2016 she was, but she resigned and she endorsed Bernie Sanders, but she saw what they was doing to get the stuff rigged for Hillary. It's like anytime the Democrats nominate a woman, they got to rig it. It goes back to what Gerald Ford said when a little white girl in this classroom asked him, would there ever be a woman president? He says it's got to be some basically he said there had to be some very extraordinary conditions for that to happen. It won't happen the regular way. So Kamala is really prophetic what Gerald Ford said back then, because Kamala is not getting the nomination or even possibly the White House the normal way, traditional way. She did not earn it. Okay, I don't care what nobody says. She's a DEI. She's the ultimate DEI hire, right? She did not earn one primary vote uh in 20 when she ran in 2020. She got out. I think she was like one of the first to drop out the race. I think Tulsi lasted longer. Yeah, Tulsi did last longer than Kamala because she took her on. She was running for president too, and she basically ether her. She Kendrick Lamar her on national television during the debate. She called out her. She pulled a card. She pulled a card, and Kamala could not say anything about it because it was true. And Kamala, she had to eat it. You know what I'm saying? Just eat it, eat it. Okay, so like, here's the thing. Democratic Party had Robert Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard. That could have been the ticket for this year. Had that been the ticket for this year, because to me they like old school. Whatever how problematic the Democratic Party is, they're kind of like throwbacks in a way. They say they the Kennedy Johnson era Democrats throwbacks, right? The white liberal of that time, even though they were condescending, they still gave us some care packages. Instead of giving all our money to Ukraine and to illegal immigrants, they gave it to the people. They had programs in place. They tried to do the Great Society thing, affirmative action. They actually did things for Americans. And then the economy was historically expanding. It was a booming economy, meaning even though Jim Crow was still in the mix and segregation, black folks were still able to live a certain quality of life. We had a black middle class. We had black families. We had black men in the house. You had black men that were able to provide for a family, and their wives stayed at home to raise the children. Even with a lack of a high school degree, a black man was able to get some type of gainful employment at the factories, because we still were doing American-made stuff back then. So you had a certain level of living that, now you look at it, man, it's crazy. Like this the space we live in is so anti-family and anti-quality of life. But if they had Robert Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard on the presidential ticket, that will be a winning ticket for the Democrats. They probably could have beaten Trump back in 2016 if they had Bernie Sanders as a nominee. And to me, I mean, Bernie Sanders, he was riding a wave. I'm not a Bernie bro, but I could see if they actually had him instead of Hillary, it would have been even tighter than it was. You understand? Because something about Hillary, she's hard to like. I mean, politics is about popularity, right? We vote popularity. She's hard to like for me. Now, I like Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton's a slimy dog. He's slimy. I'm a slime ball, but I'll slide for you. I'm a slime ball, but I'll slide. I'll slip and slide and ride and ride. Bill Clinton is likable. Bill Clinton is likable. He got charisma. Hillary doesn't have that. She's very, very smart, and she's very, very ruthless. Very, very cutthroat, but she's not endearing. She doesn't have that type of personality that she's very likable. She could get things done, I guess, depending on what the agenda is. Is it to the benefit of the people? I mean, I'd say one thing, she was trying to get that universal health care thing going when she was the first lady under Bill Clinton's first administration. So she's interesting. But you look at Tulsi Gabbard, you look at Robert Kennedy Jr., then you add Elon Musk. Oh my God. Trump he got the A team, the redeem team. He putting together a squad, man. That's a MAGA squad, man. That's like, I love it, man. I love it. I love what he's doing, man. It's brilliant because, if Elon Musk owned X or Twitter back in 2020, Trump would be president right now, because they suppressed important articles about Hunter Biden's laptop. They said it was cap. The Twitter people said it's cap, and they suppressed that news story that came from a newspaper that was founded by one of the most popular founding fathers, Alexander Hamilton. You know that Hamilton play they do, Broadway Hamilton play. Alexander Hamilton was one of the co-founders of this paper. I think it was New York Post or something like that. One of them New York papers, right? Look it up. And they said it was illegitimate. Then, a year or so later, the other traditional legacy papers on media organizations said that the laptop story was true. So imagine if Americans were able to access that laptop story in real time on a site like Twitter. Because even if they cheated, it would not been like it is if Trump would still been president. Because they suppress important information. This is not a democracy by a long shot. This is a republic, a constitutional republic, but this is not a democracy. Because this how not because you should have free flow of information. And we don't have free flow of information. And so how can we make the best decision if we are limited by the information we can access? And that's a question that we got to ask ourselves. And another question, why do y'all hate Trump so much? What did Trump do to you personally for you to hate him like that? And the fact that many people cannot articulate why they really hate Trump, or the fact that they'll use talking points that are unproven about Trump, shows that this has been programming of the highest MK Ultra order, man. Social media is mind control programming, MK Ultra. I do not look at CNN. I do not look at MSNBC. I do not. I mean, I don't even look at Fox News. I catch every now and then. I like looking at news from overseas because the American people has been poisoned against ourselves. We have been poisoned by this system. And what I love about Robert Kennedy Jr., in spite of what his family legacies may be, because the Kennedy family is a very complex family, like a lot of us, but they got a lot of interesting things, right? But Robert Kennedy was sincere about taking on big pharma, big ag, uh, all the mob, the real mob. Like his father fought the Cosa Nostra back in the day, the five families. You know what I'm saying? That work led to one of his proteges forming the RICO Act, you know, but racketeer influence, corrupt organization thing. They was able to get a lot of the heads of the five families in New York in prison for football numbers back in the 80s through Rudy Giuliani. But Robert Kennedy Jr. is taking on the legal mob in terms of the big ag, big pharma, big whoever. They too big to fail, right? They've been propped up by the powers that be. They too big to fail. They the biggest welfare recipients. Corporate welfare is bigger than any welfare you could think of in this country. These organizations and entities have been subsidized by taxpayers' money. They've been propped up. And another thing that people think Democrats are for working class people and for struggling people. Democratic Party don't like black people. They invented the Ku Klux Klan. The Democratic Party don't like people having money. They help bring in the IRS. The Democrat has taken control of the currency from the people, from our government. They introduced the Federal Reserve. IRS, Federal Reserve, all happened on the watch of so-called progressive Democrat Woodrow Wilson, the president of the United States back in the 1910s. So this is what we have. This is what we have. This is why I gotta do what I do. It is fascinating me that they spend a lot of time trying to shut me down. Like I'm go to We All Be TV too. If y'all can't get out the White Tea Plantation, subscribe there. If you're looking at this on We All Be TV 1, I'm going to remove this after this broadcast, but go to We All Be TV 2 or go to rumble.com/We All Be TV because they really trying to shut stuff down for me. I never seen this month has been very hard for Brother Ron in terms of getting stuff out. Like they knocked down the Remember Fort Pillow historic marker, vandalism, racism, hateism, all that stuff. They knocked that marker down earlier this month. We in the process of raising money for that. But if you want to give, you give it soon. Like make sure if you want to donate to our Cash App, make sure you put Remember Fort Pillow in the memo so that those funds will go to restoring the marker and also adding extra security to said marker. But really, is I'm not even gonna have to wait for no Project 2025. I'm still living in Project 1619. Y'all talking about some Project 2025. We still living in Project 1619, right? So let me see about Chicago. Yeah, let's talk about Chicago, y'all. Chicago, that traveling town. Chicago, I'll show you around. I love it. Bet your bottle dollar you lose the blues in Chicago, the town that Billy Sunday could not shut down. So let's talk about Chicago. Chicago loves Trump. MAGA is loved in Chicago. The DNC proved that MAGA is loved in Chicago. The DNC could not stop talking about Trump. They kept on putting his name in their mouths, man. They keep on putting his name in their mouth. They had Trump, 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 Trump derangement syndrome on steroids doing the DNC. Trump derangement syndrome on steroids doing the DNC, man. It's just crazy. But I would say this. From my understanding, you can look this up online. They said Donald Trump's name was mentioned close to 400 times the whole week of the DNC. And I remember I heard somebody said that they said Joe Biden's name was mentioned twice officially during the RNC convention in Milwaukee. Was that in Milwaukee? Yeah. I don't know. I gotta look this up. You probably just do a Google search and y'all could, type it in the chat, whatever that may be. But the fact that they so focused and fascinated with Trump, the fact that Kamala Harris is trying to change the rules of engagement for their debate, like the rules that Trump and Biden debated under the first debate on June 27th, those were approved by Biden's team. And Trump abided by them. Trump, being a good sport, he said, okay, we'll play by your game. We'll playing your game, Biden. Your game, Biden. Playing your game. They played his game and he lost home court advantage. He lost. He had to forfeit. That's how bad Biden messed himself up. Biden ethered himself on live television. So Kamala supposed to be debating Trump on September 10th on her home court, ABC. And Kamala's afraid. She's scared. Y'all keep on saying Trump is afraid of Kamala. Trump been talking nonstop since he almost got shot in the head. He got shot in the head, but he got shot in the ear. And y'all worry about if there's a scar or something on his ear. I don't care. They try to kill a man. And Trump has not been hiding. See, Kamala is from the Joe Biden school of politics because she's in her bunker somewhere hiding, going berserk, probably having a laughing fit, probably crazy, deranged. Because y'all talk about what Trump only had four officials from his cabinet endorse him. What does that say about Trump? I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that Kamala Harris has a high turnover in her staff. Over 90% of the people either quit or they were fired. They got articles about how she mistreated staff, how she was not a student and she didn't do her homework. And when they will research things for her, Kamala just put it to the side. You could tell that she's not a scholar or intellectual the way she comes off in interviews or in press conferences. Because I ain't saying she's stupid, but she's not a scholar. She's not a political scholar. She's not on the level. She's not a geopolitical genius like a Richard Nixon, who thought Trump would make a great president one day. Richard Nixon actually was impressed with young Donald Trump. And he wrote a letter to Trump saying, you make a good president, or good or great president. He was that impressed. And Richard Nixon is interesting to me because do yourself a favor, since you're on YT Plantation, check out some of the videos that the Richard Nixon Foundation has been uploading to YT Plantation. Richard Nixon was brilliant. And he had his problems and demons like a lot of other people, but he was brilliant in foreign policy and he understood people. He even understood his weird self. But I believe what Tucker Carlson implied not too long ago that the CIA and the FBI worked to get Richard Nixon out of office. Because that second term, man, that man, he blew it out. Man, he got in. He was so popular with the American people. He won a landslide and a historic landslide. You got to think about what happened to Nixon. Nixon was robbed in 1960. They stole the election from Nixon. The Kennedy, Kennedy, whatever. They stole that election from Richard Nixon. They went through Illinois. They went through Chicago. You had dead people voting in elections they've been dead. They didn't just got dead. They didn't just vote. They've been dead. These are dead people voting in an election in Chicago, and they got Illinois to Kennedy, but Nixon did not contest the results, even though he probably knew that they stole it. But that's the nature of the game. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Both sides steal. Both sides. They both steal. Bush got it through the Supreme Court. His brother was governor of Florida at the time, so they probably had some chats and some voting boxes in the swamps in the Everglades. 2004, Kerry probably should have won that. He could have won Ohio. And I don't think he, I don't, but those voting machines are problematic to me because you use computers to control those machines. You can hack into computer systems, right? We can hack into these things, so things could be manipulated. Like even with Baba Dick Gregory, when the state of Pennsylvania said he won with 9 million votes. Now, this is news articles you can look up. People say, "Oh, this is not real. This is urban legend." Yeah, it's urban legend, and you find a paper trail. It's in the newspapers back in the day where they said Dick Gregory was mistakenly rewarded 9 million votes from Pennsylvania. It's quite possible Richard Claston Gregory, known as Dick, could have won the 68 election. He could have won it. See, people don't understand our history. Like, Jesse Jackson was running for the nomination of a major party, right? He was running for the Democratic nominee, right? For the Democratic nomination back in 84 and 88. Dick Gregory was the nominee for the Freedom Party. Was it a Freedom Party or something like that? Look it up. And Richard Nixon was very vocal. This before Cat Williams and all those truth tellers, Dave Chappelle. Dick Gregory was the blueprint for all that. And he chose freedom over money, justice over fame. And the reason why I think it's possible that Dick Gregory could have won in 68, because there's a memo that came out in the papers, in the Chicago papers, saying that J. Edgar Hoover, who was the FBI director at the time, put out a hit on Dick Gregory. He wanted the FBI office in Chicago to facilitate a hit via the local mafia, the outfit. He wanted the mob to hit Dick Gregory. This is in the newspaper. You can Google this up. That FBI put a hit out on Dick Gregory, and they wanted the mafia to carry out the hit, because people don't understand the mafia. People say, "Well, the mob killed Kennedy." The mob are the hired guns. They not the masterminds, right? The CIA elements within the shadow government, they mastermind a lot of that stuff. The so-called deep state. They just the trigger man. They not the mastermind. So they wanted the Chicago mob to assassinate Dick Gregory, and luckily Dick Gregory, it couldn't take him out, and he wasn't that easy of a target to take out. You know what I'm saying? Dick lived to be 84 years young, but he lost a lot of people around him. He lost good friends like Malcolm, Martin, and Medgar. Malcolm and Martin were both 39. Medgar was 37. He lost a lot of people around him. He went through a lot of stuff. So, when you see that cantankerous old man version of Dick Gregory, because he went through a lot of ass beatings and whoopings and stuff, and he lost a lot of people. He lost a lot of money, but he still loved his people, and that's why he's worthy of being remembered. And that we got to bury the man that continued to plan. But you think about Rich Dick Gregory, as y'all know, I'm about to call him Richard. Dick Gregory, he ran for mayor of Chicago too, and Mayor Daley was a gangster. Legit. I mean, that's why I say people don't understand. See, if they didn't do us like they did us, Larry Hoover and Jeff Fort would have been mayors of Chicago. They would have been very successful mayors of Chicago if they allowed somebody like Larry Hoover or Jeff Fort, who helped Nixon win in 68. They used Jeff Fort street organization to help get the votes in Chicago, to give Illinois to Richard Nixon. They were so impressed with Jeff Fort. Jeff Fort was a functional illiterate at the time. He couldn't read or write at the time. This man was a political organizational genius. He was an organizational genius, but he could not read or write. He was from Mississippi, just like Larry Hoover is from Mississippi. They were so impressed with what he was able to do with the vote in Chicago for Richard Nixon. He was invited to Richard Nixon's inauguration. A lot of people don't know that he was actually invited to the inauguration in D.C. for Richard Nixon, but he sent some of his lieutenants in his place. So this is who we are. We are very brilliant people. You think about Benjamin Banneker, who built the first, we call that grandfather clock. He did a farmer's almanac and stuff like that. He was good friends with Thomas Jefferson. That's why Thomas Jefferson knew he was lying about black people, because, like Benjamin Banneker said, how can you respect me and not respect my people? He wrote to Thomas Jefferson saying, like, basically, you a hypocrite. You know how brilliant I am, But yet you trying to like black folks are inferior. And Thomas Jefferson knew that slavery was wrong. Let's read some of the stuff he was saying. He knew that there was going to be a day of reckoning in this country as it relates to slavery. He was that smart enough to know that, but he just wanted to postpone it. It's like Donald Trump was smart enough not to pay his taxes. Like Donald Trump was smart enough to still make money after bankrupting a casino or two. Donald Trump knew that the game was rigged. He tried to tell us the game was rigged, and people said, "Well, he's just corrupt and filth." He's like, I'm part of the corrupt and filth. It's like, to me, and I see people picking up my talking points now about Donald Trump. His father was a Klansman, allegedly was a Klansman. He was arrested during a police Klans brawl back in the summer of 27, I believe, the New York Times. Fred Trump from Queens. Trump is from Queens. His people are from Queens. So I'm assuming the Fred Trump they talking about is the patriarch of the Trump organization, Donald Trump's father. But you can't help who you born to. You can't help who you born to. And the Klan was not just a terrorist organization. In the 20s, the Klan was one of the most powerful political organizations in the country. You understand? It was the sign of the times. The biggest Klan state was Indiana. Indiana had mayors, the governor, sheriffs, politicians in DC, all Klan connected. That's how powerful the Klan was back in the 20s. You had millions of white men and women. Because Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, she would speak to the Klan's women. Yeah, Margaret Sanger, the one y'all Planned Parenthood, reproductive rights. Yeah, Mrs. Eugenics. Yes, she used to speak at those Klan rallies. So they were a very powerful political organization. So a lot of people would join the Klan, from my understanding, not a lot, but some of them did join the Klan just for political power. I know. I remember I read something about Harry Truman, who became president of the United States after FDR died in office. He was from Kansas City, and he was thinking about joining the Klan. Allegedly, he was thinking about joining the Klan for political clout, for political power. He wanted to, have some political power. And I think one of the reasons why he did not join the Klan was because his benefactor, his political mentor, Tom Pendergast. Tom Pendergast ran Kansas City. He was one of the most powerful political bosses in this country's history. So he helped make Harry Truman a senator from Missouri, but out of respect for his mentor, Tom Pendergast, who was Catholic, he decided not to go the route of joining the Klan, from my understanding. Now, also that the state of Israel was recognized by the Truman administration, because they became a state officially back in 1948. And I believe Truman, he might have been a little bit touched in the NTA, but he had a Jewish business partner, from my understanding, from back home, that really kind of advocated for him to recognize the state of Israel on his watch. And you could thank Truman for the formation of the CIA. See, these are all Democrats. These wars, most of the major wars were started by Democrats. CIA was started by Democrats. Federal Reserve, IRS, Ku Klux Klan. Ooh, Democrats sure love black people, right? Insurrection of 1898, the Wilmington insurrection of 1898, Democrats, out of power white Democrats overthrew the fusion government of black and white politicians in Wilmington, North Carolina, back in 1898. Wilmington was the biggest city in North Carolina. It wasn't Charlotte, it was Wilmington. This is the same place where Michael Jordan was raised, right? So if you want to understand the mentality of Michael Jordan, you got to understand the story of Wilmington, North Carolina, and what happened there back in 1898. It was done by Democrats, okay? Reconstruction was ended by Democrats and Republicans and Democrats, right? They ended Reconstruction. See, the Republican Party still owes Black American an apology for what they did to us. They took away our ability, so they basically giving illegals Reconstruction now. And that's another story. But I'm looking at chats. Yeah, Jussie was funny. Okay, yeah. Jussie was at the convention. They honored him, right? Jesse Jackson did get money from Trump. Just like Jesse Jackson got security from the Nation of Islam, Farrakhan stepped in and the Fruit of Islam helped look out for brother Jesse. Jesse was telling a lot of truths at the time. I do believe that we as Black America, we owe Jesse Jackson an apology, because me being in my 40s now, I understand how difficult it can be to help our people, even when they don't want to be helped, or like they give people they give us a hard time, right? Jesse made some missteps, right? He was 26 when Dr. King got killed by the government. Y'all still mad at Jesse for what the government did to Dr. King. That wasn't Jesse that did that to Dr. King. The government killed Dr. King. Civil court trial in Memphis, Tennessee, December 8th, 1999. U.S. government was found guilty or complicit in the assassination of Dr. King. The King family sued a local restaurant owner named Lloyd Jowers. Read the book, The Plot to Kill King by Dr. William Pepper, who was legal counsel at one point for James Earl Ray, the accused assassin of Dr. King. And also he was a confidant of the King family. He even knew Dr. King while he was living. And L lay out a lot of the details, but that needs to be known. But Trump helped a lot of Black people back in the day. Like I said, he stood up for Mike Tyson. No, Don King loves Donald Trump because of what he was able to help Don King, Mike Tyson, having fights in his casino. Uh, Donald Trump provided housing for Black Panther Party in New York. David Hilliard, one of the co-founding members of the Black Panther Party, talked about how Trump helped them get a decent housing in New York City because he said he ran Harlem. He owned Harlem, basically. He owned the real estate. But Trump looked out for the Black Panther Party. As much as people talk about the Central Park Five, and it's really sad that them young men are being used by the Democratic plantation. The Democrats put them in prison. It wasn't Donald Trump. Donald Trump was a Democrat. At the time, he wrote an op-ed, and he was going by the popular feelings of the time. That the media said these guys were guilty. The police, the law enforcement said they were guilty. And basically, he was going on them sentiments. And they act like Donald Trump was the judge, jury, and the executioner of these young boys. They weren't men. We got to stop making our boys men before their time. They'll call Emmett Till a man to justify killing him when he was just a boy. He was a 14-year-old boy. Tamir Rice was a 12-year-old boy. These were boys. They were not men. They were railroaded by the system. You had DA, Democratic mayor, Democratic governor, Democratic prosecutor. The lady who prosecuted them, she's a big donor to the Democratic Party. You look all that up. So how is it Donald Trump's fault? What happened to them boys? A lot of y'all don't even know about the Scottsboro boys, right? In Alabama. Hear about the Scottsboro boys back in the 30s? Look that case up. Now, that was a horrible. At least these guys are still around and they got some compensation. What they did to the Scottsboro boys was despicable, was sad. See, we don't really want to talk about nothing. Stuff y'all made about Trump, that's America. He didn't invent no redlining. The government endorsed redlining and segregation and slavery. Donald Trump didn't endorse all that. He benefited from the loopholes in the system. He didn't create the system. He just knew he had enough sense to thrive off the loopholes. And he was telling us, look, I feel bad about it. The game is rigged, and I want to get some other people a fair play. So the fact that the Democrat, then you got Kamala Harris, who made a career sending Black men to jail, breaking up Black families. She's a career prosecutor. That's all she's been doing. So she's been using her power, then keeping people in prison beyond their term so that the state of California can have free, cheap labor to put out their wildfires. It's despicable. What she did to Matrice Richardson's family, disrespect to Matrice Richardson, a Black American woman who had a mental breakdown and was allowed to go about her business in the middle of the night. She was released from the Malibu sheriff station in California at around midnight with no phone or means of any. She had nothing to help her. And then they found her skeletal remains almost a year later, like a mile and a half from the sheriff station. And then the sheriffs or police contaminated the crime scene, by removing her body before the coroner could get there. They contaminated the scene of the crime by removing her remains before the coroner officially got to the scene. Then they had to airlift her remains out of the place they found. I think they found some type of canyon. Like it's like a space they found her where it'd be hard to get to via foot in a lot of ways. But what's crazy, like the family did a vigil at that spot where they found her remains like a year later, and I believe it was like a year later, and her mom found her daughter's one of her finger bones on the premises a year later. Kamala used the Matrice Richardson case to get in as the U.S. Senator from California. She betrayed that family. She disrespected that family. Gregory Johnson, a young black man who got killed under very questionable circumstances at San Jose State uh, back in, I believe, 2008. I interviewed his mom, Sister Denise Johnson. I interviewed her years ago. Her son was found it was like a strange fruit case. He was like I think he was either the only black member, or one or two black members of this fraternity out in San Jose State. They allegedly hung him. They try to say it was suicide or whatever. She said he was anally violated. So they did some type of anal stuff to him and some other stuff. And this guy was a minister. This young man was very responsible, a minister, a diligent student, loved his mom. Nothing happened with that case. Gregory Johnson, look that up. This is all when Kamala Harris was a legal person. She was like the top legal person, prosecutor, whatever, in the Bay Area, right, at that time. Then, when she was the attorney general, she did nothing to help Matrice Richardson and her family. And that case is very strange. But anyway, and I believe she was murdered. It kind of reminds me of what happened to my cousin, in a way, Datria, who was found, her remains were found last week. And I know she was murdered because the streets are saying stuff. The streets be talking. They said, people on the street saying this what might have happened, or this actually did happen. Because people knew weeks ago, alleged that she was already dead. This is my cousin that I'm talking about. And the street said, well, so and so did it. And it bothers me that a party that disrespects black women got the nerve to talk about we for reproductive rights. Y'all falling for the okie doke. They're giving out free abortions at the DNC, from my understanding, when they give out vasectomies, like they was like doing reproductive stuff, And the fact that there are some women that just love their reproductive rights, right? They love to get away with killing babies. Yeah, I said it. Some of y'all like to get away with murder. It's not about you. It's about you not being accountable and responsible. And the sad thing about it is you meet women. I know women. You meet women that regret doing that. And then they don't understand the consequences to their health. It destroys their womb. A lot of these women want to conceive babies later. They can't do it because their womb been damaged. It's scarred. So how is this caring about y'all? That you a party that's adamant about your right to kill. Whatever you think about that, everything about what Brother Ron said is what it is. Because my thing is, it's sick to me to say that this is the party of Fannie Lou Hamer, it was not the party of Fannie Lou Hamer. 60 years ago, she tried to get the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party seated at the 64th convention in Atlantic City. She had to meet before the Credentials Committee. As she was talking about her voting and horror experiences in Mississippi, Lyndon B. Johnson made sure he cut into her presentation to do a presentation for, I believe, 30 governors in the East Room at the White House. He didn't want the nation to know about the horrors of what black folks was catching hell in Mississippi. And it goes back to a point. Take this down. Time Trump, he did. The parents did not know. Thank you. The parents really messed up their kids. The kids messed up. If you look at the Netflix series, by speaking, and then their parents, none of them should have said anything. They should have got some counsel. They should have got some legal representation. So the parents did not do their job, and I ain't blaming the parents a lot of because we don't know our rights a lot of times until something happened to us. So yeah, the parents did not help the situation with the kids. They were minors, and then with the Puerto Rican dude that came out years later said, "Look, I did that. Since I'm already doing jail time, I can't let these brothers take it." And DNA proved that he was the one that did it. A Puerto Rican guy admitted to what they accused the Central Park Five of doing. I don't put that on Trump, and Trump don't owe them an apology if he don't want to give it, because they've been lynching Trump in the media for the last 8 years. Trump's been getting done worse than the Central Park Five. So I guess that's karma then. If you look at how they treat Trump, so-called convicted felon. Yeah, baby lives matter, man. Baby lives matter. Baby lives matter. Yeah, it leads to a lot of complication getting the deletion, man. People think that's the answer. That's not the right answer. And people say, well, we don't want them to go to the, it reminds me Tupac. Tupac, my favorite rapper. Tupac mom, the grandmother, his father's mother. She was gorgeous. She looked like Tupac looked like his grandmother, his paternal grandmother, right? She unfortunately died young. She died from complications from an abortion. I guess she didn't want to have any more kids, or it wasn't convenient for them to have kids. She had a lot of kids, including Tupac's father. So she went to get an abortion when she got pregnant. Come to find out, she was having twins, so it was some complications. So she went to get an abortion, but she was having twins, and then she ended up dying doing the procedure or afterwards or something like that. That's sad to me, because thank God that she decided to have, Tupac father. We won't have no Tupac. See, people talk about, where is Malcolm X? People want to quote Malcolm X, Dr. King, or Fannie Lou Hamer, and people like that. Fannie Lou Hamer was the 20th child of her parents. She was number 20. Imagine if they wanted to stop after 5 or 2 or 3. We would not got Fannie Lou Hamer at 20. Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, who actually founded the HBCU, one of the few black folks that actually founded a HBCU. She was the number 15th child of her parents. She was number 15, child number 15 of her parents. And thank y'all for all watching me. And so, well, they said we don't want to have no more kids before they got to 15. Where they stop at 13 or 10 or 5. See, the problem is with black people is you want them to save you, but we got to save ourselves. And we save ourselves by protecting the womb, by making choices and decisions, by working as a village. Stop stigma, because a lot of us are products of teen moms. We are products of teen moms. You even look at the movement. People talk about Rosa Parks and stuff like that, but it was a black teenage girl, Claudette Colvin, that really Rosa Parks took the place of, and it was for political reasons. Number one, 15-year-old pregnant girl, and she was dark skinned. Rosa Parks, middle age, light skinned woman, whatever, secretary of the NACP, local NACP, whatever, da da da. So it's like politics, colorism, politics, whatever we want to talk about it. People talk about it. But Malcolm X was number 7th child of his father. He was his father's 7th child. And people getting, abortions the first time they get pregnant, then they try to conceive. They can't conceive because the womb been scarred up, because they don't care about black people. Medical establishment does not care about black people, allegedly. You look at the father of gynecology, Jane Marion Sims. He was doing stuff on black women without anesthesia, because they said black people can't feel pain. We can't feel no pain. We magical Negroes. We don't feel pain. So you had black women getting wounds all stretched out, tore up. He was experimenting on black babies and stuff like that. You talking about some Nazi Germany? You talking about some Hitler and stuff? America is the original Hitler. This is the original Holocaust. But the thing about it is, we have people that don't do the work in terms of advocating for our point of view. You got people thinking that, we don't deserve reparation because, it's been so long ago. My great grandfather, my father's father, he was born in slavery in South Carolina about 1862. This is my great grandfather. He was a slave. He was born into slavery back in 1862 in South Carolina. So how's that long ago? My grandma just passed away in 2016. Her father ain't been dead 100 years yet. So how's that a long time ago? It's not. It's an excuse, and you got to peel the layers back. We don't have the right people in place to articulate what needs to be done. It's like you celebrate Juneteenth, but yet days before that, they denied the last surviving members any type of restitution or reparations in Oklahoma courts for the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921. You look back, talk about Wilmington earlier, Wilmington, North Carolina, 1898. Michael Jordan is from Wilmington, North Carolina. Wilmington, North Carolina was a sundown town from that time period all the way up into the 90s. So Michael Jordan grew up, the greatest basketball player, grew up in a sundown town. And isn't it ironic that he'll go to a place like Chicago, which is in the land of so-called Lincoln? The land of Lincoln is the land of sundown towns. Look what happened to Sonia Massey just some weeks ago, right? It wasn't that long ago. Was that July? It happened in July. Was it July? July 6th or something like that? Y'all look it up. So you had that what happened to Sonia Massey, but before that, you had the 1908 Springfield Race Massacre. One of her relatives, her ancestors got killed allegedly in that massacre. And they both were pronounced dead at the same hospital, allegedly. This is internet stuff. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's interesting. So the same stuff we were dealing with in 1908, we're dealing with it in 2024. And this is not no Project 2025. This is Project 1619. It's Project 1619. So we got to ask ourselves a question here. What are we doing here when we just give our allegiance to one party that historically never deserve our loyalty? Malcolm X talked about the Democratic Party. He specifically talked about white liberals and the Democratic Party. He talked about Eastland and Stennis, James Eastland and John Stennis. These are the senators of Mississippi. They didn't want to seat Fannie Hamer and the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party at the 64th convention. These are the mentors of Joe Biden, Jim Crow Biden, Crime Bill Biden, whatever you want to call him, Sleepy Joe, Creepy Joe. These are his mentors. Robert Byrd, longtime Klan leader in West Virginia, longtime U.S. Senator, very influential, powerful Klan leader of West Virginia for a minute. He eulogized Robert Byrd, one of his mentors. Faubus, the governor of Arkansas, who tried to deny the Little Rock Nine on the Little Rock Nine, Central High School. He tried to deny him entry. Mentor Joe Biden. George Wallace, the Alabama governor, mentor of Joe Biden, almost assassinated himself, but ended up becoming paralyzed because of the assassination attempt. That George Wallace, mentor Joe Biden. What are we talking about here? I tell Donald Trump, daddy could have been a Klansman, allegedly, but Donald Trump denounced David Duke. When David Duke endorsed Donald Trump, he said, I don't have nothing to do with them guys. Maybe he do, maybe he don't. My thing is more damning on Joe Biden's side than it is on Donald Trump's side. His affiliation with these people, and then the things that Joe Biden said as a young senator or as a young politician about black people, like he didn't want his kids going to school in the jungle. That type of stuff that y'all want to look over and gloss over. And y'all so infatuated with the Central Park Five when this man has done damage for 50 years. Joe Biden has been allowed to do damage against black families for 50 plus years. And y'all talking about a Central Park op-ed on Donald Trump. If that's the best y'all could do about Donald Trump, he will get my votes a third time this fall. He will get my votes a third time this fall. He will get my votes. Yes, he will, a third time this fall. He is the greatest president of my lifetime. I was born, I was conceived during the Jimmy Carter administration. I like Jimmy Carter. I actually met him, gave him a We All Be Award, met him and his wonderful wife, Rosalind, at the Sunday school. But out of all the presidents, I've been alive since Jimmy Carter. Donald Trump is the GOAT. They're gonna be talking about Donald Trump 1,000 years from now because he's a president that is that impactful. And he's the one that can really get the job done. And Kamala, see, if that was Tulsi Gabbard, If there wasn't Kamala Harris, I know Democrats might be on to something. I like Tulsi. I like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. But yet they got the party for a reason. These are, to me, these like traditional. When y'all think of Democrats, this is what I think of. I used to think of. But Obama is like a used car salesman at this point. I don't care for what Obama got to say. I don't care what Michelle got to say. They talking about rich people and they rich. They cheapest home is under $2 million, like 1.7 million in Chicago. They got like several homes and the millions and millions of dollars. They talking about you can't trust rich people. That means we can't trust y'all, Michelle and Barack. We can't trust y'all. We can't trust Oprah Winfrey, childless cat woman, Oprah Winfrey. We can't trust her because she was up there kissing Harvey Weinstein in the mouth before all this stuff went down. When Harvey Weinstein was the man in Hollywood, Oprah was kissing him in the mouth and everything. They got pictures of that. She was kissing him, alleged. They was all lovey-dovey. Barack Obama's oldest daughter, she interned with Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, that Harvey Weinstein. It's kind of like Barack Obama said, my daughter's doing a music video with R. Kelly. They're gonna do a music video. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. See, so he gave his daughter an intern to Harvey Weinstein. You can look all this stuff up. This is nothing hard to find. Use your smartphone. Dumb, 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 dumb. So you think about these hypocrites. Well, they talking about they about reproductive rights, but they're about systemic killing of generations of black people. If you think about it, um, this is not a good look for black people. And so when I see these celebrities get up, especially black male celebrities, get up here and endorse the Democrats and Kamala Harris, I just go back to what Malcolm X was saying with that Berkeley, California, on the TV show back in '63 about entertainers being court jesters. They not really supposed to be taken seriously. Like when I meet people older than me, I'm in my 40s. When I meet people, black folks 50 and 60, talking about what Steve Harvey and Ricky Smiley and D.L. Hughley had said, I can't take you seriously. I just look at them. I watch them for a laugh. I don't watch them for advice. I don't take life advice from them Steve Harvey or from no D.L. Hughley or Ricky Smiley. I don't take no marching orders from them. Hell, I don't take no advice from Travis Smiley. I just watch them. I take what I take and I just whatever. But my thing is when y'all say what CNN say, see, you just a puppet for these people. I could tell how people think about what they watch. If you consuming CNN all day, you ain't no good to me. If you consuming MSNBC all day, you ain't no good to me. If you even consuming Fox News all day, you got to break away from that. It's like I miss the days of Phil Donahue. I used to love watching Phil Donahue as a little kid on TV. One thing I respect about Phil Donahue, I guess you would classify him as a liberal, but he was a really open-minded liberal person who believed in freedom of speech. He was a defender of freedom of speech of the First Amendment in my mind because he had the balls and the audacity to interview Louis Farrakhan, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Khalid Muhammad. He did not try to censor them or edit them or anything. He allowed his space to be a space to hear different points of views. And I respected that immensely growing up. And it's sad that died with him. He is the king of daytime talk, but look how it just went down. And I remember when MSNBC first started, like Phil Donahue actually had a show on MSNBC back the early 2000s, right? It's Phil Donahue show, whatever. I think they called it the Phil Donahue show. I don't know. And he was such a vocal critic of us not going to war. He didn't want us to go into another second war for Iraq. He was vocal on his platform about preventing the United States from stepping into another war for Iraq. And don't you know they canceled him right before we got into the war? He was canceled because he was too outspoken. I gotta believe because he was too outspoken about going into war with Iraq a second time. And they canceled him. They canceled Phil Donahue right before. Cause I remember when MSNBC was hyping it. It's just 10 more days down and we'll be in war. Like a monster truck show, excuse me. 10 more days and it's war. Remember that UN inspector, that Blitz, whatever his name was. He was trying to find that yellow cake or whatever uranium. I can't find anything. Please give us more time. I cannot find the yellow cake. Please give us more time. And Bush and them said, hell no, because this is the axis of evil. What they said, who was the axis of evil? Iraq, Iran, and North Korea. And 20 something years later, Iran is still here and North Korea is still here. You want to know why? Because the only country that made a deal with the devil was Iraq. Saddam was an ally to America at one point. You know, I remember they did like an MTV, MTV Cribs, whatever, style interview with Saddam Hussein back in the 90s. And Saddam Hussein, he was showing his crib around. Then he showed his movie collection. He had a movie. He loved American movies. It's like Kim Jong-un love American basketball. He friends with Dennis Rodman. They love American culture, right? So he had his movie collection. I believe he had like Scarface, Godfather, stuff like that. So I'm like, okay. So he, he liked it, but he made a deal with America. That's why they got him out of there, because, Iraq was weird to me, because this is supposed to be the cradle of civilization, right? Civilization started here so many thousands of years ago. And that what's some of the things they did in Iraq? See, they was able to defeat Iraq without any. I mean, we lost people, whatever. Well, we was able to conquer that country in no time, right? You already had an infrastructure there. There was no need to destroy buildings, and then what did we destroy stuff? So we get our contractors in there, Halliburton, whatever. Did not secure the museum, so you got all these artifacts getting destroyed or stolen and put on the black market. See, a war is not about justice. It's not. It's about the taking and pillaging of resources. It's about taking people's shit without paying for it. That what war is. War is about capitalism. War is about taking people's shit. War is about profiteering. War is anything but about justice. The Ukraine thing is not about helping those Ukrainians. It's about making these military contractors uber rich. They already uber rich and super rich. They make them more rich. And Donald Trump, y'all accuse him of being a warmonger, did not get us into any war. He is the peacemaker. He is a businessman. He is Mr. Let's make a deal, baby. Let's make a deal. Can't kill all the consumers. How we gonna move this product? You killing everybody. Let's make a deal, baby. That's Donald Trump. Barack Obama ain't that. He won a Nobel Peace Prize and he's the Drone Ranger. Why? That makes your prize illegitimate. But then what's the Nobel Prize created by the dude that created dynamite? Or something like that. Y'all look that up. I ain't gonna look it up. I'm freestyling. But it is strange to think about a lot of this crap. Donald Trump, everything they said, Donald Trump, they like Donald Trump gonna be like Dr. Strangelove. Look at the movie Dr. Strangelove. They thought Donald Trump would be the guy. You don't want him by the red button. Now you don't want Biden falling asleep and drooling on the red button. We don't want Biden nowhere in the White House, okay? We don't trust Biden going to the restroom for himself. He don't need to be near the nuclear codes. But everything y'all said Donald Trump was going to do, it happened under Biden. We're really in World War III. And this is not, we almost at World War III. We there. We are most deaf in World War III. The reason why y'all don't know that is because long y'all got like y'all bread and circuses going, y'all not concerned about what's going to happen. But we are already at the point of Hunger Games, The Purge, Terminator, Waterworld, all these apocalyptic movies that they did over the years. You watch The Simpsons, they prepare you for these moments, predictive programming. So we are already there. But Trump is the peacemaker. He is the peacemaker. Trump is a marketing genius. He's the peacemaker. And he's a coalition guy. He kind of like Chicago politics. That's why I said Chicago loves Trump, because Chicago is ran coalition politics. It's a gangster town, the city of big shoulders. And you look at the history of Chicago politics, it's all about being a gangster. And what I mean by gangster, I ain't talking about always killing people. I'm talking about just using force. by any means necessary to secure your power. Look at the history of Chicago mayors. I talk about Daley, but you go back to even you can think about Big Bill Thompson back in the 20s, whatever. But let's talk about Anton Cermak. You know, this white boy, he said, I want to be the mob. I want to be bigger than Al Capone. He become mayor of Chicago. He tried to consolidate organized crime under his administration in Chicago. He tried to take out Frank Nitty. He sent a police hit squad to Frank Nitty to try to take him out. Some type of way Frank Nitty survived. And then next thing you know, Anton Cermak is down in Miami next to Franklin Roosevelt, who's about to be president of the United States. And he get assassinated by an Italian immigrant named Giuseppe Zangaro, who got the chair down in Florida for killing Anton Cermak. But people claim that he was trying to hit Franklin Roosevelt, but some mob guy said, nah, we was getting Anton Cermak, we was getting get back for what he did to Frank Nitty and trying to move in on the organized crime scene in Chicago. That's Chicago. That's why I say like somebody like Larry Hoover or Jeff Fort would have been great mayors of Chicago because they following that tradition. Not saying that they're uber ultra violent people. I'm just saying they understand how to get stuff done in the environment. Because like I told y'all, Jeff Fort was one of the reasons why Nixon was able to become president because he secured Chicago, which gave him Illinois and gave him the White House. Unlike how he was denied in 1960 when Kennedy, because Mayor Daley was a Kennedy supporter, he was a big time Kennedy supporter. They made sure Chicago did what Chicago did for Kennedy in 60. So I say both sides cheat. So, but my thing is, it's going to be difficult for the Democratic Party because all they had to do, if they could have met with Bobby Kennedy and hear him out, it's quite possibly that they wouldn't be in such dire straits because I don't believe the polls. Because who are they polling? Because I know when I go outside or even when I listen to people talk, it's like a lot of people thinking about voting for Trump. To me, I'm hearing a lot of folks say, let's go for Trump, man. I just like the Democrats. I don't know what they're doing, man. It's like that Obama magic don't work for me no more. That worked in 2008 and 2012. Like Obama, the way he was talking and stuff, that worked. Now it just looked tired. Bill Clinton looked tired. He looked better than he did in 2016. Physically looked better. He just sounds tired now. He sounds where I mean, like they look like they don't have no life in them. Like Obama and them just going through the changes. Michelle, they just look like they're just focused on Trump all night long, all week long, all week. They're just talking about Trump, 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 Trump. Democratic Party is overdosing on Trump derangement syndrome. But meanwhile, Trump is bringing people together. Trump is making black men great again. Black men are speaking out and standing 10 toes down. To hell with y'all. We going for Trump, baby. And I ain't saying all black men. There's a lot of black males that, they just can't be alone. They gotta have their woman's permission just to fart. You got some of those. But if you're a man, if you understand the history of how powerful black men are, and there's no disrespect to the sisters, but if you think about if people talking about we died for the vote, no, we didn't die for the vote. It's like his brother name Mukasa Dada. He go by Mukasa Dada. He's a brother from Georgia, brilliant activist strategist back in the day. He was known as Willie Ricks back in the day. He was Stokely Carmichael's right hand man, and he was the one that inspired Stokely Carmichael to quote to say Black Power in Greenwood, Mississippi, because they were organized in Greenwood, Mississippi, and you heard Willie Ricks, Mukasa Dada talking about Black Power. So Stokely said that inspired him to speak that in that park in Greenwood, Mississippi back in the day. Black Power. So Mukasa Dada told me, I was in his home interviewing him. He told me we didn't care about no vote like that. People, I like it was about the vote. Cause he said himself he don't really vote. He don't really vote. He don't care about voting. He said the reason why they picked voting and stuff was to make sure that the media could capture the hell that black folks were going through down in the South. In particular, they wanted to see how the white establishment was so aggressive and so murderous towards black people. And so it worked because the media showed everything back then. Unlike the media now, everything is really censored because even with Chicago, very censored. And for it's ironic that even You look at the 64 Democratic Convention, they allowed Fannie Lou Hamer and them to speak at the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party to speak at the convention. I mean, Lyndon B. Johnson, he cut the proceedings, like the footage, like the one that was actually showing it live, he cut into it with his presentation for the governors in the East Room. But I believe they showed the entire testimony of Fannie Lou Hamer later on that day or night. But they were allowed to at least speak before the Credentials Committee. They did allow them that. This year, they did not allow anybody that was supportive of Palestine or Palestinians any type of entry into that week. As a matter of fact, they built a wall around the United Center to keep so-called, protesters out. You know, so the Democratic Party is not welcoming to all peoples. They not, and they haven't been for a long time. And what is sad to me is that you just can't have a decent conversation with people. You can't have an intelligent conversation without people getting upset in their feelings about what. I think about my situation with the censorship, and y'all don't understand. I, you know, I'm not, I gotta build things. I gotta get it from the mud all the time. I do stuff in the community, and they don't want to give us support for it. They don't give us support. I actually do stuff. I'm not just on here talking. I got a life. I do things. I'm being spiritually attacked. I know that now. I recognize what it is. I'm being spiritually attacked because things that are happening to me that is weird. And I said, why do I go through all the changes? Because even with the TikTok, like I said, I was banned from TikTok. But what did I put on TikTok that was so horrible? That when I see people, they see people send me links. They be emailing me, texting me links to TikTok. I can't access TikTok. They banned me, and I deleted the app. I said, why they banning me? And I see what people give me, like, man, they talking about everything. Like people saying all types of people putting all type of provocative stuff on TikTok. But Ron Hurd to speak about truth. I said, well, you could research this. I get banned. Like with YT, YouTube, YT. How they do it, brother, man. I'm in a twilight zone. It's very hard to really talk to people about these things because people be in their feelings about a lot of different things. It's like, but yeah, I see people getting paid. People getting paid for being nefarious, for being uh, untruthful, for being purposefully misleading, and you get punished for telling truth, for standing for something. So I realize now that if you want to be a hero to black people, you gotta be a villain. You gotta look like a villain to black people. You gotta be vilified by your own people. Just like Uncle Tom. When people say you a Tom, I say I'm glad I'm a Tom because Tom, he saved black people. The real Uncle Tom saved black people. The real Uncle Tom was loyal to black people. The Uncle Tom y'all talking about is what a lot of y'all worship right now. Y'all idolize sellouts. A lot of us idolize the sellout, the person that will sell his people for a pork chop sandwich. We idolize people like that, but the people that want to help us, we vilify. And and people, like, I be getting phone calls and texts, and people be just leaving all type of weird voice messages on my phone. And man, why me? Like, why you leave? They'll call back and keep on leaving like voicemail increments of 2 minutes. I mean, I got about 10 voicemails, 2 minutes long. And I still don't understand what they talking about. I'll replay the voicemail. Like, well, I don't know what this is. But why I get these people? Because I mess with Dick Gregory. You meet some interesting people. Uh, and I'm about saying, like, okay, but I can only wipe my own ass. I can't wipe everybody's ass. But I can show you what a toilet paper is to wipe your ass, where you could get toilet paper or wet wipes to wipe your ass. So I'm going through my thing, but it reminds me of what Dr. King would say. He said that human salvation lies in the hands of the creatively maladjusted. I remember I read stories because I like to read, and I'm interested in biographies of people. I always been. And I remember, like, I read something with Dr. King He'll be so tired. He'll be so drained. And people would come to the house and Coretta or somebody saying, well, Dr. King, so and so, they want to meet the others. Oh man, tell them I'm not here. Tell them I'm not here, Coretta. Tell them I'm not here. I'm not here. They said they'll wait. I said, oh, okay, well, people like be that determined, man. But my thing is, um, by me just being on here and talking the stuff I'm talking about, I'm helping to create a narrative that's counter the BS and also that be conducive to us getting something. The Black Panther Party believe in heightening the contradictions. You have to heighten the contradictions of things, and that's what I do. I'm a contrarian. People say, "Well, we achieved something." I said, "Well, we still got a while to go." Come and say, "This is what we need to do. This is the checklist." Oh, brother Ron, you don't believe in celebrate. We celebrating the battle, but we got to focus on the war. We still fighting the war. You could take a time out to celebrate a battle, but we still fighting the war. And you got to keep your eyes on the prize. So it's very important to realize that we got to have people that that really believe that we can get whatever we want to. We can manifest what we want to. We can manifest an alternate reality to what we're dealing with right now. The choice is ours. Yeah, I don't get paid though. That's the problem. I'm on the wrong end of the stick. Maybe I didn't get into the harassing business, but yeah, see. I didn't know what a targeted individual. I know this is gonna sound funny. Being a targeted individual. Now I had encountered people. I interviewed people that say they were targeted individuals. Now I'm realizing I am living a targeted individual life because what they do, they attack your means of trying to make a living. Um, they'll distort your message. They'll send people your way. I remember I talked to Dick Gregory. I said, man, how do you tell somebody's an agent? He said, you don't know. You just gotta, live your life. Basically, would tell me you can't worry about who's who. Just be true and live your life. And I encountered some interesting people on my journey. And I do believe in a thing as energy vampires. They are real, trust me. I encountered some. Yeah, what's up? Y'all need to we all be TV too. You on YT, you on YouTube, I call it YT Plantation. Cause I'm moving all the videos off of We All Be TV. Because they removing so many of my videos. It's just ridiculous. Uh Black Lives Matter. I love that. Yes, sir. Yeah, brother Mukasa is from the ATL. Yeah, his son actually is a medical doctor. His son went to Cuba for medical school. He actually went to medical school for free by going to Cuba. Only thing he had to do was make a promise that he would like help. It did, people that's not well off, impoverished people, with his practice. And he went to medical school for free. So brother Mukasa, Willa Ricks, good guy. Mukasa Ricks or Mukasa Dada, good man, great man. Yep. Jeff Ford, leader of the Blackstone Rangers, L. Ruckins, whatever. He in Supermax right now, I think. That's another thing. We don't talk about our political prisoners. And that's something that we need to talk about as well, too. And let's see. See, have you seen what's going on in Afghanistan and currently causing riots in the UK? A preview of what Americans can expect if they vote for Kamala. It's gonna I think martial law gonna be president in the fall. I mean, it's getting crucial. It's getting extreme. It like I don't see how people think we better off than we was even 4 years ago. Man, I go to the grocery store, man. It's almost like a life and death thing. Like, can I afford to give this $5 for this loaf of bread? But my gas tank is low. It's just crucial right now. I'm feeling it. And I don't know about anybody. I'm feeling it every day, man. And it's like happiness is definitely a choice, but it is coming to us. Nobody's immune for what's going to happen. And they're gonna have to do their best to get her in there, because I think that September 10th gonna be very telling about what people are really looking at with Kamala. They might have to replace her after the September 10th debate. Because that's why she's afraid of Trump. Trump is not afraid to debate Kamala. Like he said, he prepared. He don't need to be prepared. He's been preparing for this all his life. Trump is he's just that man. Mama, there goes that man. That's who he is. He's the man, Mr. Orange Man. Fago. President Fago Orange in this month. Yeah, but you look at the countries that they don't touch are the ones that got nuclear weapons. That's how you keep your country. If Iraq really had nuclear weapons, they wouldn't have been done like the way they've been done. There would have been no second war with Iraq if Iraq actually had weapons of so-called mass destruction. And then they said, well, Iraq was a part of 9/11. They were saying, I said, how can Iraq be a part of 9/11 when America controls this air zone? Like, we control their air. We was over their air. We controlled their movement. That meant it was an inside job. And it still is an inside job, as far as I'm concerned. Their airspace, we controlled their airspace at the time. That's what I'm saying. Said Trump Vance 2024 with Tulsi G, Thomas Massey, RJK Jr., Rand Paul for Trump's cabinet pick. Us MAGA World Order for life. MWO. MAGA Order for life. MAGA World Order. We'll see, man. This is like this got me giddy, actually. The possibilities with Trump is amazing to me. Trump is protected, man. He's protected by the Most High in a lot of ways. He got a mention, man, because I didn't care for Donald Trump like that growing up. I knew, of course, I knew Donald Trump, who he was and who they say he was, and I didn't really was feeling him for president until 2016 when he started doing his debates and stuff like that. You start reading. I said, this man is the truth. I know what Baba Dick Gregory said about Trump, but he entitled to his opinion. We from different generations and stuff, and I know what y'all think he said about Trump, as well. But Trump is really, I think he's for the people, man. I just really think he's an anti-establishment. He's really anti-establishment, but he's also establishment. And the media is trying to destroy him. The media made him, and now the so-called legacy media is trying to destroy him. But Trump, he got the will of the people, man. Like, when you go to his rallies, there's no AI. There's no paid actors there. There's all the people. People, they craving Trump. Like some of y'all crave Popeye chicken sandwiches and stuff. Popeye's chicken sandwiches. Robert Byrd was Grand Cyclops of his KKK chapter. Okay. But he was a powerful man. And then also I want to say about Hugo Black. Y'all know Hugo Black was a senator from Alabama. He was a Klansman, right? And I'll tell you about how the Klan was like a very powerful political organization back in the 20s. He joined the Klan, and then he voted for the Brown v. Board decision. He was for the Brown v. Board decision. And he actually apologized, I believe, for his membership in the Klan. And he basically said he did it for political clout, for political power. So, like some people join these frats or sororities. You look at all the people, I don't know, I ain't getting all that. But anyway. And then the Klan also gave support to Marcus Garvey back in the day. So do they make Marcus Garvey a sellout if he took resources and support from the Klan? Nation of Islam, they brought real estate from the Klan down in Georgia. This is, back in the day. And they also had George Lincoln Rockwell, the founder and spokesperson and leader of the American Nazi Party. He attended some Nation of Islam events. And I think he even spoke at some Nation of Islam events when Elijah Muhammad was the leader. Said there is no reproduction if you abort the child. Women have to reproduce to have reproductive rights. Right. Women are here to, yeah, I just something wrong when people are so gung-ho about, we gotta have a right to kill the baby or kill the fetus, whatever. I mean, is that really like the most important issue? To me, it would be what Robert Kennedy Jr. was talking about, taking all these chemicals out of our food that is poisoning people, that is creating a chronic illness industry complex. It's a chronic illness industry complex where you get sick and they want to keep you sick by giving you things that make you sicker. It's like it's a never ending cycle. They try and destroy us. They are, we got to rise up against this. We got to really realize that, hey, we ain't gonna have a fighting chance if we don't fight. Like what Donald Trump was saying, fight, fight, fight. It's on, baby. And I think a lot of us, our problem is a lot of us, we not in the best shape. If it goes down, we not in the best shape. A lot of us ain't. And it's not necessarily like all our fault per se, but we are the most like Americans got to be the most brainwashed people on the planet. We got to be the most brainwashed people on the planet. Not saying that other people ain't being worked on, but I look at how the people, it's like, it's crazy to me. I'm about to wrap this up because I could talk all night. This is crazy to me because you think about how people love Trump. When I was growing up and people love Trump, they love The Apprentice, they love Trump stuff, Trump this, Trump. Rappers love Trump. Now all of a sudden people hate Trump. We got rappers and comedians. Steve Harvey met with Donald Trump. He was criticized and stuff. And Steve Harvey just, I don't know. Jim Brown was a man. He met with Trump and bet nobody said anything bad about Jim Brown meeting with no Trump, because Jim Brown is a man. Like his daughter, she's a MAGA, and Jim Brown put in the work in the community, man. Jim Brown got the receipts. So he, the ancestor, righteous ancestor, Jim Brown. He didn't apologize for meeting with Trump. You meet with the president. Ice Cube met or connected with Trump with the contract for Black America. Trump had the platinum plan, and you got black folks, especially it's fascinating, man. It's really fascinating. But Kamala Harris was a lame duck before June 27th. Kamala Harris was a lame duck. They were talking about replacing her on the ticket, or people think about she should be replaced on the ticket. And Joe Biden fumbled the bag. He fumbled the football. All of a sudden, Kamala Harris is the heir apparent. She's the anointed one. She this and that, but she didn't do nothing for 3.5 years. He said on day one. But day one was 3.5 years ago, lady. Like, look at the policies y'all implemented. Y'all want to blame Trump for telling people not to vote. Trump, he told people not to vote for the bill that would secure the border and all that BS. Y'all was able to secure the United Center without no vote. Y'all put a wall around the United Center without a vote. The fact that Trump was a sitting president and he was kicked off of Twitter does not give me dictator for life vibes. The fact that he was banned from Twitter as sitting president, they deplatform him from social media as a sitting president of the United States, the so-called most powerful man in the world. The fact that even after January the 6th, he stepped back and he allowed the transfer of power does not give me dictator vibes. What give me dictator vibes is people ascending to the top of their party without paying dues, without winning primary votes, without campaigning. That gives me dictator vibes. Trump campaigns, he's still campaigning. He does interviews, press conferences. He's out there at rallies. He's traveling. He had some issue with his plane not too long ago. They trying all types of ways to stop the man. They got the Just Us system weaponized against him. You got the feds. Everybody, the feds is watching. Everybody has been weaponized against Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is still standing. How do you not like a person like that? That is a fighter, man. He fights. Yeah, he's in a billionaire boys club, but he's fighting for his political life. He's fighting for his real life, his actual life, his physical life. He's fighting for his family legacy. And it's only right that he hook up with a Kennedy. Because really, Robert Kennedy can understand what Trump is going through. Because they families, you know what I'm saying? It's hard for me to understand. what he's going through like that. It's like when I tell people was Trump talking about he had bigger crowds than MLK. Probably did. I think Minister Farrakhan had a bigger crowd than MLK with the Million Man March back in '95. He had like over 2 million people. I think the March on Washington, what they had like a little bit under 500,000, under 400,000, whatever. It don't make a difference. It was a different time. When people say he compared himself to King, I said he is like King. King came from privilege, you know. Daddy King wasn't poor. King family wasn't poor. Um, Trump definitely came from privilege, and also the media character assassinated Dr. King for the last 2-3 years of his life. You know, he won the Nobel Peace Prize in '64. He even won the Margaret Sanger Award. He was a good Negro for Planned Parenthood back in '66. When he spoke out against the Vietnam War, that was it. You a bad nigga, Dr. King. You's a bad one, Dr. King. You's a mean one, a bad one, Dr. King. You're a charlatan, Dr. King. So they character assassinated Dr. King. He was disrespected by the Washington Post and New York Times and all them papers y'all love to believe about anything they say about Donald Trump or black people. Those papers, you know. The same paper that wouldn't give Ida B. Wells Barnett an obituary in the New York Times, and they did it decades later. Our bad, you know, that paper. That paper that dismissed Malcolm X's legacy as an intellectual thug. New York Times, you know, now Malcolm X he's a hero in America. He's not only just a black hero, he's an American hero now. You see how they do that stuff? They hated Dr. King the last 2 years of his life. Yeah, you got this $100 million plus statue in Washington, D.C., the Jefferson Memorial, Lincoln Memorial, Washington. Then you got Dr. King right there. But you know what's so disrespectful is that, you know, yeah, corporations gave the same corporate infrastructure that took out Dr. King with the help of the government, gave some money. Then you had the Black Boule, they raised money. And then they had the nerve to get a Chinese communist artist to do the Dr. King Memorial. They won't even let us have the honor and privilege of honoring one of our own with some of our best artists. It's like even what happened, the Tulsa Race Massacre 100th anniversary, they had a mural done, an official mural done in Tulsa around the time of the 100th anniversary several years ago. They got a white man from Maryland to do it. He actually did a pretty good Harriet Tubman mural down in say Eastern Shore, Maryland. I saw that mural, I believe. But he, for all the black people, I saw some talented black artists in Tulsa. He had some very talented black visual artists in Tulsa. But they decided, whoever was the committee, they wanted this white man, and no disrespect to him, because he's a very talented artist. But they got this white dude from Eastern Shore, Maryland, or from Maryland, whatever, to do the mural. Then it shows like the black man being carried by his woman. So it's like it's a mural that emasculates black men. It's a mural that emasculates black men, right? Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Then I'm gonna get off of here. I've been on here too long. I've been on here too long. That's why you gotta control our narrative. We gotta control our story, man. Got Team 21 mural. I'm trying to look for the mural. I found it, by George. I found it. I'll give y'all this mural right quick. Now you tell me, like, how this is like, this is so we allowed so much disrespect to us as a people, man. This is ridiculous. Excuse me, this stuff is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? It's very ridiculous. Ridiculous, ridiculous. Oh no, they be trying anything to remove video. See, look at that. Wow, look at that right there. Man, that's so inspiring, right? No, that's the Black Wall Street Massacre mural. Let me read something. White guy from Maryland did it. No disrespect to him. Let's see. Yeah, it's interesting. You see how the woman she's carrying a black man, that big black man, and she must be Superwoman. I'm not your Superwoman. She a Superwoman, carry that big black man, and that supposed to be a tribute to the Tulsa Race Massacre. And what's crazy? Tell you what's crazy, right? Let me see. Trying to find a little story for it. Something that ain't too long. I want to prove a point. Let's see. This is from the Black Wall Street Times. Hmm. Okay. So it's like 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre mural unveiling draws crowd by Erica Dubose, May 28th, 2021. On Thursday morning, Dr. Tiffany Crutcher, Greg Robinson, and OSU Tulsa leadership welcomed the new Greenwood mural on OSU's Tulsa's campus depicting the events of the 21 Tulsa Race Massacre. The mural, which stands across the street from the Greenwood Cultural Center and adjacent to the Vernon AME Church, was created by artist Michael Rosado, who was commissioned after Dr. Crutcher saw a painting of Harriet Tubman and her family completed by Mr. Rosado 2 years ago. Mr. Rosado, who was called to the microphone, became emotional when discussing the 21 Tulsa Race Massacre and his honor in being selected to create art that reflects the tragedy. Mr. Rosado is known for his large murals and not only painting them, but also installing each piece of artwork personally. Okay. Drawing tears and gasps from the crowd, the mural shows a woman holding a man who appears to have been murdered during the massacre, while a white man, likely a police officer or deputized by one, stares menacingly at the couple. In the background, the sign for Dreamland Theater hangs down precariously while fire burns all around it. Both Dr. Crutcher and Mr. Robinson spoke at the unveiling event. Dr. Crutcher reminded the crowd that the artwork is not just for tourists to look at and snap a picture, but for all of Tulsa to embrace, no matter how difficult it is to see. Dr. Crutcher encouraged Tulsans to reflect upon Tulsa's history, as well as the work needed to continue recognizing the shameful racism that has engulfed the city for over a century. Okay. Mural elevates calls for justice. Mr. Robinson echoed her sentiments, stating that Tulsa still faces challenges in educating citizens about the 21 Race Massacre. Mr. Robinson also noted that while the centennial crowd would eventually move on, Tulsa still faces a reckoning over reparations for the three living survivors: Viola Ford, Mother Fletcher, Leslie Benefield, Mother Randall, and Ellis Uncle Red Van Hughes, as well as their descendants. Multifaceted artist Brand J also performed, drawing cheers of joy as well as a thoughtful silence as the crowd faced the mural directly for an hour following the unveiling. So in the story, they didn't show Michael Rosado's face. They showed the faces of the people, some of the descendants. But I'm gonna show you his face. The guy who did it. It's no disrespect to him. I'm not, it's not about him. He does great work. But it couldn't get no black. You know what I mean? I'm a black visual artist myself. You looking at my work behind me to get one of us to do it? Let's see. Can I get a window seat? But couldn't get one of us to do it. Like us, they not like us. It's like even here in Memphis, they got the Ida Wells Memorial done on Bill Street, Ida Wells and Bill Street, and they got a white couple to do it, and they did. I guess they did a good job. But dang, man, we got black people that do our work, like the White Howard, not the White Howard, but Ed Dwight. I think his name's Ed Dwight, the first black space black astronaut candidate for NASA. I think it's Ed Dwight, still alive. So this is Michael Rosado. Yeah, I want to say Italian American. He did the mural. That's the guy they got to do the mural. And I remember talking about the MLK thing with Gilbert Young on my show when I first started We All Be Radio. We were talking about the MLK Memorial controversy. And it was a black artist from Atlanta, Gilbert Young. He did an iconic artwork that some of y'all might got hanging in your homes right now. He was on my show. We talked about it, and we had the Honorable Judge the Army Bailey. The Army Bailey Courthouse is named for him in Memphis. He was a Jegna of mine. He was one of the co-founders of the National Civil Rights Museum. Legendary activist. He acted in movies like he was the preacher that was in How Stella Got Her Groove Back. He married Stella to her man, and How Stella Got Her Groove Back. He was the judge in the People versus Larry Flint, where Woody Harrelson was throwing like fruit at him. He was the judge, and he was a friend of mine, and we had a lively discussion and debate about who should be over the artwork for the MLK Memorial in DC, which was interesting. This back in 2007. But they got this guy Michael Rosado. That's his work in the background. I guess he does good work, but they couldn't get no black artists. I mean, I saw some great black artwork from black artists in Oklahoma and Tulsa. They couldn't get one of them. And Dr. Crutcher, she is the sister, I believe, of the brother who was murdered by the Oklahoma policewoman. That they did a traffic stop and she murdered him in cold blood. I don't know what happened with that case, but that was her brother, from my understanding. Let me see this. So they got him. He added this. Let me see. He did some Harriet Tubman stuff. I'm just looking through his website, but I'm trying to make a point. I'm gonna get back to the Black Wall Street thing. It just life is interesting. It ain't about being fair. It's about it is what it is. Let me see. I'm trying to see. Let's see the Harriet Tubman piece. I'll put it up here. Yep, this is a fascinating time we're living in. Everything's upside down. But as an artist, I don't mind anybody. We do, artists about freedom of expression, and he's good at what he does. But they couldn't get no black person. I met several black people in Oklahoma that probably could have did a good job as well. This is like this Harriet Tubman piece he did. I mean, that's cool. It's all right. But I want to critique this thing right here, though. And I'm going to get off the air. I've been on here long enough. Y'all got y'all feel. I be saying I'm going to have a short show, and now I just go on forever. And ever? Let me see. The mural. Okay. I want to talk about that mural. It's not accurate. I mean, it's accurate, but it's not accurate. I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm be gone. We are blessed that we could access the testimony of survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921. The massacre was only by a day. They burned down Black Wall Street within a daytime. One of the elders, who's an ancestor now, righteous ancestor now, she talked about how a lot of these black men were World War I veterans. They had military service. So you had black men stationed around Black Wall Street. You had black men sniping white people from buildings and stuff like that. And from her telling, she said that the black men killed so many white people, so many white men, that they had to hide the bodies in the Arkansas River. I think there's an Arkansas River. It has quicksand in it. So they had so many white casualties from the black men sniping and shooting and engaging that they had to hide the body count, the white body count, in the Arkansas River. They had to throw them bodies in the river. And so when the so-called law came, whatever, and told the black men to hand over their guns and surrender, that's what they did. They handed over their guns and surrendered because they respected the law more than white folks respect the law. So they put the black men in concentration camps, and they left the black women and children without protection because they thought they were doing the right thing by turning their weapons over because they thought, oh, it's the law, whatever, National Guard, whatever you want to call it. Here, we'll obey, we'll abide. So they did that, and that's how they destroyed Black Wall Street. Now, you had black men and women getting killed. Matter of fact, the most famous black person to be killed during Black Wall Street was a guy from Memphis. His name was Dr. A.C. Jackson. He was born in Memphis back in February of 1879. His daddy was U.S. color troop during the Civil War, and he got his training in medicine in Memphis. And I think I want to say he went to Meharry in Nashville. I'm not sure, but he got some medical training in Memphis as well. And he moved to Oklahoma Territory, to Black Wall Street. And he was also an inventor, Dr. A.C. Jackson. He invented surgery tools that are still used to this day. You know, they probably been modified, but he invented tools that are still used in surgery to this day. And the Mayo brothers, the people who founded the Mayo Clinic, the famous Mayo Clinic, the Mayo brothers say he was the greatest color surgeon in the country, that he was the best of the best. And what was said about him was his next door neighbor was a white man named John Oliphant. He was a former police chief and judge. He'll try to convince a group of white men from don't kill the Dr. Jackson. Dr. Jackson is not only a credit to his race, but also he's a credit. He take care of both black and white people. He helps the sick. And it was like, I believe a white teenager in the crowd just shot him down like he was nobody. Just shot him dead. After this white man who supposed to have some type of prominence and respect and power was trying to stop them from doing anything to Dr. Jackson, they just shot him down like a dog. So he was like in his early 40s. I want to say around 42 or 43 years old. And that's unfortunate. But you know what they don't tell you about Black Wall Street is that black folks did not get one red cent from the insurance companies. They were trying to move them from that area through the legal process. And it was really the great historian, Dr. John Hope Franklin. His father was a lawyer who had a practice in Black Wall Street. He took on the system in the courts and won. He made sure that black folks could stay in Black Wall Street to rebuild, even though they didn't have any help from the same insurance companies that paid for the bullets and guns of the white folks who destroyed Black Wall Street. They did not pay one red cent to the black folks that lost property, homes, and lives in Black Wall Street. You also know that it was the first time in American history that airplanes was used to bomb an American city. The Gap Man was that Gatewood, Archer and Pines, Black Wall Street. Gap Man, you dropped the bomb on me, baby. You dropped the bomb on me. Okay, yeah, damn, they from there. People claim that the airplanes that were used were black-owned airplanes. Cause we had, Black Wall Street was self-sufficient. I guess they had their own everything, and white folks were jealous. So, with that said, black folks rebuilt, and they came back even more prosperous back in the 30s and 40s. It wasn't Black Wall Street race massacre did not destroy Black Wall Street. It was the American system with the urban renewal, or James Baldwin would call Negro removal, where they start trying to take back the inner cities, or they try to separate black folks from the rest of the city or towns. They will build expressways through the hood or through the black communities like they did in St. Louis and down in L.A. and stuff like that. That's what you're dealing with. It was a system that finally got rid of Black Wall Street. It wasn't the race massacre of 21. It was the Jim Crow system, the one y'all talking about gonna be Project 2025. It was Project 1619. They got rid of Black Wall Street eventually. And now you go there today, you got so-called black businesses, but do they own the real estate there? No, they renting space. They got a soccer stadium in the heart of black community. I mean, a soccer stadium, it's just weird. Tulsa is a weird vibe. If you ever been to Tulsa, it's kind of weird. And I could see how something like that could happen in Tulsa and they cover it up because it's just a weird vibe. White people kind of like interested in Tulsa. And people that been to Tulsa, they know what I'm talking about. It's hard to really explain, but they're kind of different in Tulsa. But no, that mural, it shows the emasculation of black men to me. It's like, our women are the strongest. Now our women are wonderful, but you had black men that protected their town. Had they not turned their weapons in and turned themselves in, probably been a different story. But you also had black men died in the Civil War to free themselves, but by them willing to fight for their freedoms, they freed women, white, black women, everybody got freed because black men fighting. When black men stood up 60 years ago, it helped everybody else get stuff. See, it's sad now. We in a sad state of affairs. You got black men up here crying on social media about y'all don't. I hate black people because y'all won't vote for Kamala. She's not black, and we're not voting for Kamala not because she's not black or because she is black. She's not black. It's because of her policy. I really care about my country, and she cannot be president. I'm sorry. I don't care about the AKA Chuck and Pearls celebration. Black folks out here catching hell. So anyway, enough said, family. But yeah, that thing, I'm not feeling that. They're, well done, I guess. But you look at, is she able to carry that, man? She's kneeling down. She's kneeled down. That what that is? She's kneeling down. Look at the kid. Oh my God. Dad. Oh. Anyway, it's crazy. Okay, so I guess, fam, that's enough for tonight. Y'all have a great one. Thank y'all for tuning out to tune in to get in when you're in, baby. Read Y'all really active in the comments. But yeah, this make sure you check this out on We All Be TV too on YouTube or YT. Or you go to Ramadan.com/We All Be TV. Let's see. Trying to see. Make sure you subscribe here. Y'all got it? And also subscribe here. All right, family. That does it for tonight. In the words of Great Duke Ellison, we love you madly. Try to look at these comments some more. Thank y'all for coming. Y'all really active. Said, where is the man say so on reproduction rights? Women are killing off our seed legacy, man. We walk around with like, right. And we got to be more animate and advocate. But also we gotta understand that, this been 60 plus years in the making, the destruction of the black family and the family unity, and not just black people, but it starts with us. We're the guinea pigs and lab rats for the rest of humanity. So there's the breakdown of black family. 60 years ago, some of the most married people in America was the black family. You had the black man, woman, and child all under one roof. But look at, how they used the government to replace the black man. Look at the movie Claudine with Diane Carroll and James Earl Jones. You be laughing, and then by the end of it, you be crying. So I mean, it's time for black men and men in general to stand up and be accountable, 10 toes down. Tis the season. But thank you all. God bless. Take care, and know that the best is yet to come, baby, baby. One love. Can you dig it?